Okay, here's how we set up a range trade based on time. And I'm also going to do a market replay for the US jobs report tomorrow. This is how I test reports. So the first thing I do is disconnect live. Go to connections and connect playback. That's market replay. July 8th is the date that I'm replaying. So I use these boxes to type July 8th, and I put the date July 8th in both boxes. 7/8. And of course, the year is 2022. Then I put my cursor in this blank area and right click. Go to, I click on. The date is July 8th, and I'm going to put the time of the trade. So this is going to be a range trade. It's an 8:30 trade. So I'm going to put the time a few seconds before the trade. 8:29 and 50 seconds. It's going to be an 8:30 event. Now there is a bug with Ninja. I'm going to check by playing back. I may have to enter the trade time twice, but we'll deal with that in a minute. So we're setting up a range trade based on time. I have an ES set up that I'm looking to trade for the jobs report that I'm looking to test. Okay, so I'm in replay mode. My chart's on ES 922. So I'm going to set up a range trade. Right click the chart, click strategies, double click JOBB version 10. And now my trade type is a range trade, a regular range trade. Now, with a range trade, I'm going to have an entry time. I'm going to backtrack for a second. When you're doing a replay, you don't use the real clock. So I'm going to close this clock by putting my cursor dead center and closing it. With the range trade, I'm using the playback timer. So I don't need the real clock. So let's start. We're going to create a range trade. The trade type, range trade. I have a start time to the range start time. Remember, it's an 8:30 event. I'm starting my range 8:29 and 55 seconds because our timing showed us that's the best time to start the range. With a range trade, you define the range either by time, which is the way we're defining it. 8:29:55 is the start. What time are we going to end the range? I'm going to end the range at 8:30:05. And a couple of things. I want to see the range draw, so show the range graphics on chart. And we've defined the range by time, 8:29:55, range start time. The range ends at 8:30:05. It's only a 6-second range. And we want to put our orders on the chart when the range ends, and we're going to use that 6-second range, and this ticks above the range and ticks below the range, which happens to be 5. So in other words, we create this 6-second range, and if the price moves 5 ticks above the range, we'll go long. If the price moves 5 ticks below the range, we'll go short. And we'll see the range by showing the range graphics on the chart. You can choose the color you want those graphics to be. Let's make it ghost white. And the end of the range is defined as 8:30:05. So now we have to just pick our positions, how many contracts, and our stops, and we're going to be ready to go. So let's say we'll trade 2 positions. So position 1 size is a 1 contract. Position 2 size is a 1 contract. And let's say I've got a target of 9 ticks for my first target and 20 ticks for my second target and a 20 tick stop. So we now have a range trade. The range starts at 8:29:55. It ends at 8:30:05. I've got a 2-position trade, 9 tick profit, 20 tick profit with a 20 tick stop. I want to just turn off my account warnings. Remember, I can always also save this as a template if I wanted to. Template, save, and I could call it ES range US jobs report. Now I already have a template saved, so I'm not going to save it. So you're learning playback and creating a range. So now I apply it and I OK it. And when I need to enable the trade, so when I use time and press play, it's going to show me the range and it's going to trigger the trade. Now in playback, it sometimes shows the range before it's supposed to be on, but it doesn't calculate it. So don't worry that the lines are there. Remember, they're really supposed to be there at 8:29:55. That's when the range starts, and then the range will be drawn for 6 seconds after that. Watch, we may have to re-enter the time because of that little goofiness in Ninja. See how it reset the time? So I'm just going to right click in the blank spot, click on Go To, re-enter my time before the range, 8 before the event, 8:29. It's an 8:30 event, so let's say 8:29 and 55 seconds. So watch what happens now. So now my trade is enabled in the control center so that it will trigger when the time gets to when the range is over. It's 8:29:55. I'm actually going to back up a little bit because that's when our range is supposed to start. If you remember, let's make it 8:29:50. And now I'm going to press play and watch what happens. My range is going to start drawing in 2 seconds. As long as we have price movement, there's the range. Top line is the orders. See? The bottom line is the order. The internal lines are the actual range. So our range trade triggered and it reversed, so it stopped out. So that's not a great test on that particular setup. But that was a range trade and we played it back. Okay? I'll show it to you one more time. Stop. If I uncheck, you can look at a strategy when it's not enabled. If it's enabled, you can't open and edit the chart. You have to disable the strategy to be able to edit it. You can actually disable it from inside the chart also, but you have to click apply and OK to do that. Then you can edit it. All right, so one more time. Right click the chart, strategies. This particular range trade, we chose range trade, and the range start time is 8:29:55. The end of the range is 8:30 and 5 seconds. We have one position for a 9-tick profit, the second position for a 20-tick profit. We have a 20-tick stop loss. The end of the range, 8:30:05. We have ticks above the range, 5, ticks below the range, 5. Show the graphics on chart. That's so the range draws and we see it. When the range is created with this 6 seconds of time, if the market moves 5 ticks above the range or 5 ticks below, that's the direction we will get pulled into the trade. Okay? Then when you're done setting it up, you press apply and OK, and your range shows up over here. Now, see how the strategy name says JOBB V10? If I go back to editing, right click and strategies, and I go down to the label, and I give it a name so I can see what the trade actually is, ES breakout, it's much more helpful. Apply it and OK it. And now I enabled the trade. What I have to do in playback is put my cursor in this blank area, right click it, go to, and make the time before the trade already took place. See, right now it's 8:30 and 30 seconds. The trade is over. We need to go to 8:29:50 because our range starts 829.55. Okay. Okay it. And then I'm going to press play. And now in 5 seconds, my range is going to start to draw. There's my range. The inner lines are the actual range. The outer lines are where the orders would be. There's our orders after 6 seconds. Now, if it moves below, see it went below the market, the 6 ticks, and then it reversed, and that's why we got stopped out. So it just did not work. It did not work, that particular setup. I hope that helps. That's another trade type, range trade. See you in the trade room.